All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about some of the Bluebeam batch tools. The batch tab within Bluebeam is exclusive to Bluebeam Extreme. We're also going to be looking at a couple of other tools that are part of standard Bluebeam, but kind of fit into that same vein of tools that are going to save you a lot of time by being able to turn a repetitive task into something that you can do numerous times with just a couple quick clicks and save yourself a lot of time and make your workflows a little more efficient. So before we get started, I just want to introduce Microdesk to anyone who's not familiar. So Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission: to assist architecture, engineering, construction owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technologies. 28 years later, and that mission still holds true, Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and UK. We have over 230 plus AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest the US will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure you're prepared to meet these demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry expert consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. And we partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to power sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. Many of you are probably already familiar with BIMRX. So BIMRX, Microdesk has developed as a powerful suite of purpose-built tools that get projects out the door faster. With modeling, project management, and documentation features for leading Autodesk software, BIMRX will help make you more competitive globally while meeting the demands of urbanization. So we're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. Whether that's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. Microdesk clients represent some of the nation's largest and most respectable organizations and public agencies, including the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Denver Airport, Robert A.M. Stern, Columbia University, amongst many others. And to help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full service consulting. So this includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessments, technology management, mentoring and support, application development, and much, much more. And before we jump in, I want to introduce myself as well. So my name is Jack Reilly. I'm an MEP solution specialist here at Microdesk. My background is in civil engineering and MEP coordination, and I have many years of experience using Bluebeam, Revit, AutoCAD, and programming in a number of different languages. So here at Microdesk, we can find a way to eliminate repetition and tedious tasks. We're going to find a way to do so. That's how BIMRX evolved into the powerhouse it is today. We want to be able to improve efficiency in any way we can. So with Bluebeam, and in particular Bluebeam Extreme, they do have a host of tools that allow us to save time and work more efficiently. The tools we're going to be covering today in particular are hyperlinking, stamping, subsheeting, and some of the search actions using visual search and the actions we can apply to those. So with that, I'm going to jump into Bluebeam. And just as a note, I'm going to be monitoring the questions tab within our webinar today. So if you have any questions, just feel free to send them in there. We'll be monitoring those so I can answer as we're going with anything that comes up. But I want to start off with a tool that's not part of Bluebeam Extreme. So Bluebeam Extreme, these batch tools are all under this batch tab at the top here. One tool just with Bluebeam out of the box that kind of is in the same vein, being able to do something across multiple pages very quickly, that you're probably familiar with, is just creating bookmarks. So if we want to create bookmarks for a page, we can go to our bookmarks, create new, and here we can select by a page region. We can actually read information from the pages across all the pages in the document or specific ones if we only want a specific page range. We can come in here and select our drawing number. And then we probably want to get our drawing title in there as well. So we can get that too. And it's going to give me a preview of what it's reading in based off the page regions I gave it. And I can choose, if I want this across all pages or only a specific page region. For this, if I'm setting up the bookmarks for this document, obviously I'm going to want all of them set up. So very quickly, Bluebeam's going to go through, it's going to read information from the page and generate bookmarks for my entire document. It's going to make it very easy for me to navigate. If I want to jump to a specific plan, I can use my bookmarks to get around quickly. But first, we're going to look at the batch hyperlinking. So I want to show, the standard way for hyperlinking if we're not going to use the batch tools. We'll come to our tools, go to hyperlink. Here, we're going to select an area or piece of text, whatever we want to generate a hyperlink. And it's, very useful, but also a very manual task. So if I come here, I want to generate a hyperlink to jump to A100. I'm going to need to, first of all, know which page I want to actually jump to. So in this case, I know it's page 2, but if I'm doing this for all of these different pages within this document, it might get difficult to remember. Or if I'm jumping to instead a different document, I'm going to have to go through and do that for each one. So here I can do it. It's going to set up my hyperlink. That's going to jump me to page A100, which is page 2. But as you can imagine, if I'm going to go through and do that for each page in my drawing list here, it's going to take me quite a lot of time. Luckily, the batch hyperlinking is going to make that process a lot more streamlined for us. So instead of going to tools, I'm going to go to my batch tab here. I'm going to go to link, new. And here I'm going to specify, which documents I want to have. In this case, I'm just going to use this combined set that I have open. So I'll add my open files. And then I'm going to choose what I want to search for and basically how I want to set up my hyperlinks. So if I'm certain that I already have page labels set up for each page in this document, I can just do page labels. If I'm not sure, I can always just do a page region like I did before and just make it read off of each page. That way, even if I don't have the page labels set up, I can still get my correct search regions. And then under link options, this is where I'm going to choose what I want my hyperlinks themselves to look like. So whether I want to use relative paths or absolute, if I didn't have this checked off, whether I want to overwrite. So that's what I'm going to do here when I've already set up one of these and I want to be able to overwrite that one that's already established. And then how I want these to actually look. So you can set it up so your hyperlinks are invisible. They're still links, but they don't pop out off the page. There's no visual indication that they're there. Personally, I always like to be able to see those with a filled in, kind of highlighted look. So we'll keep that highlighted there. I'll hit OK. And when I've set up my settings here, I can just go and hit generate. And it's going to read through. And you can see it's giving you a preview. So it's saying it's going to search for A100, and anywhere it finds that, it's going to jump me to page 2 in this document. And one thing I might want to do is either change my A000 drawing, which isn't going to be linked anywhere else, to something else, like maybe I want my project number that's going to appear on every page to be a hyperlink that's going to jump me back to my cover sheet. So I can either change the search term here, or I can add a new one. We'll look at just adding a new one here. So I'm going to go to Insert New. I know I want it to jump me to page 1 here, so I can just copy that in there. And then in this case, my search term is going to be my project number. So I can enter this 2000720. I think we've got everything set up here. So you can save this as well if this is something you're going to be doing the same setup to a number of different documents. I'm just going to go ahead and hit run. It's going to search through all these pages looking for those search terms, and it's going to give me a little summary here. So it created 162 hyperlinks. It deleted one, which because I knew I didn't have any hyperlinks when we started out today, I had made that one. Basically, it deleted that one, and that was that overwrite existing option that I chose, and it created a new one in its place. So I can hit finish and close. And now I've got all these hyperlinks that populated here. I'm not going to get a hyperlink to the page I'm currently on, so I didn't get a hyperlink for either of these two, right, because I'm already on this page. But if we jump to another page, you'll see I'm getting a hyperlink to that cover page there. And anywhere I'm getting, an elevation call out or detail like this, that hyperlink is getting generated automatically very quickly. And I can use that to quickly navigate the document. So it saves a ton of time, really makes this document much more dynamic, be able to use it, jumping from one detail, one section, one elevation to another. And I didn't really have to do much work at all. Bluebeam kind of did all of that for me. So very useful to be able to set that up. And I want to show as well, with a lot of these batch tools, in particular, some of these like just flattening markups that don't really change from the default tool itself. But what the batch tool allows you to do is not just apply these tools to the current document. You can actually load in a bunch of separate documents and apply these changes to each of those pages each of those individual PDFs that you're loading in. So if instead this time, maybe I want to hyperlink a separate pages, we can do that too. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start a new hyperlinking. I'm going to hit new. And this time I'm going to hit add files. And I've got my separated pages out here. So instead of one combined PDF, we got all of my pages separated, each drawing on its own. And I can add all these individual PDFs in here. I'll hit open. But the process works exactly the same. So now I can go for my search term. I can do page. I believe these all have page labels, so I'll just select that there. We'll see if for some reason they didn't. It'll just not generate those hyperlinks. And I'll just check my options again, and we can go ahead and generate. And this time, we'll see for the destinations, it's saying page 1 in all of these individual sheets here. So it's going to go ahead and create hyperlinks and save all of these individual documents to be able to link to one another. So let's hit run. And it's going into each one of these pages here. And we got 128 hyperlinks created. I didn't do the project number that time, so that's why we had the less. Finish and close, and then I'm going to open up that first drawing there. We'll see this one got updated to include all these hyperlinks. The actual PDF got modified, and now clicking on these are going to jump to all of these individual pages here. So I chose one with no other hyperlinks on it. We don't have any sketches, and that one looks like it didn't get linked for some reason. A 700. Well, let's jump to a different one. There we go. So we can see all of these got hyperlinked, but now instead of being within one document, the batch tool is going to let us load in multiple different documents and apply these tools across all of them. And then I can jump from document to document like this. These are all separate PDFs. All right, next thing we want to look at is stamping. So we know how to apply just a standard stamp. I'm going to open up submittal here. Open up a sample submittal. And if we want to just apply a stamp, we can go to Tools, Stamp, choose our stamp, or choose whatever was last using just the S hotkey. So maybe what I want to do is, if I needed to stamp this entire document, for example, I would have to go through on each page, or if I had multiple different documents the same way we just hyperlinked across multiple PDFs, I would have to go into each one to be able to do that, or go to each page, hit S and stamp. Obviously, if we're stamping these for review, we're going to be reviewing each page, but we might want to just save some time, review it in one go, and then at the end, just stamp across all the pages and be done with that rather than having to do it as we go. So let's look at how we do that with our batch tool here. So usually if I'm going to apply the stamp across multiple pages, I'm going to try it out once just on one page so I can see what it looks like, make sure it's in the right spot. So I'm going to go to batch, apply stamp. And here is a good time to have your rulers on, because you're going to choose basically a position on the page. You can choose bottom right or bottom left. We choose bottom left here, and then any offset that we want. So I can see maybe, looks like maybe about 1/2 inch. It's going to look, offset it just a little bit on each side, so 1/2 inch looks good. And this for the scale, I'm not too sure. So we can try that and see that this might be too large. Maybe we need to scale it down. But rather than doing all pages for the first go, I'm just testing out what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to choose current page, and we can hit OK. And that's way too big, right? So definitely want the scale down here. So let's try 50%. All right, that looks good. But I think that location was pretty good. So now we know where we want it, what the scale is going to be. And this time we can go ahead and do it to all pages here. So I'm going to delete this one and just run that again, apply stamp. This time we're doing all pages, and I'm going to make sure my scale is down at 50%. And we're going to hit OK. It's going to run through and stamp each page here. Now, this product data submittal maybe isn't something we need to stamp every page for, but you might have a coordination submittal or as-builts that you are going to stamp each page. Rather than going through and doing it as you're reviewing, especially as these pages get pretty heavy and hard to navigate, you can just pick a spot that you're going to want to put your stamp, do your review, and then come through at the end. And now if I open up my thumbnails, you can see I added that stamp to every single page of this document here. And they're not flattened by default. I can choose to flatten them afterwards, but that way if I go to a page and I see, maybe I should move that a little bit to get it off, I can make some tweaks after the fact before I go ahead and flatten those. So again, it's just a way to save a lot of time. Use these batch tools to apply this across many different pages. And you may have a bunch of documents just in a folder rather than one open PDF right here. You want to be able to stamp across multiple documents. You can do that the same way. When we go to apply stamp, this would just be, I would add additional files in here. And again, it's just choosing a reference point from usually one of the corners of the pages, right? And then an offset of that. So very useful tool there. All right, now let's look at slip sheeting. Jump back to this, our combined PDF here. So we're gonna look at doing it, works a little bit differently if we're gonna be doing this in one combined document set, or if we're doing individual pages. Both ways work really well. It kind of accommodates both different styles that you might be managing your document sets in. So we're gonna go to batch once again, and this time we're gonna do slip sheeting. So here we're going to have to say what's our current file, what are we actually going to be bringing these revised drawings into. So in this case, it's going to be my open file here. And I'm going to choose all pages. And then I need to add in my revised files, the updated drawings. So here I'll path to where these are saved. My revised sheets here, got 3 of these. I'll bring these in. And once again, we have a match. So page region, maybe if I don't have page labels set up, so I can always just choose a page region. Usually the maybe the safest option if you're just not sure whether any labels have been set up, because obviously your drawing should always have that number in the same location, so you can always just read that off each of the pages. So we'll choose that, select our page region, grab our drawing number. And we've got our current set here, combined drawing set, and our revised files here. So let's go ahead and match pages. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse, just getting over sickness. And then it gives us a little summary here before we go ahead and match anything. So we have the match pages. So it's noted that we have page regions at page 3, 5, and 7. It's 8, 201, 203, and 300. And that matched with these 3 PDFs are Rev 2 of each of those drawings. And we also have all of our unmatched pages. So these are all the document pages of my combined set that did not have an updated drawing. Now, if I had added in to my revised drawings any documents that didn't match up, those would show in here too. And what that it's not going to know where to put those, right? If it's a brand new drawing number. So basically it's going to go through and it's going to match all the pages and then say these ones weren't matched, that were new documents. Do you want to export these to a file? And then it's going to let you decide where you want to stick those in after. But we didn't have those in this case. Just wanted to point that out. And here we get to choose what we want to do with them. So do we want to insert them before the current pages? If I'm maintaining one document set here, I probably just want to replace these. So I want to replace the current pages with the revised pages. And then it's also going to let us, do we want to copy any markups? Do we want to unflatten or flatten them? And in our case right here, we don't have maybe markups like we would think in terms of text boxes or anything like that. But we've gone through and we've added hyperlinks to all these drawings. So copying the markups this way, it's going to include those hyperlinks. So when we slip sheet our revised sheets in there, all of those hyperlinks are going to get added in there, and we're not going to lose those. And it's going to update those paths as well. So this looks good. Let's hit OK. And then we have the option to create a detailed report. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that just so we can see what it looks like here. We can choose a PDF or a CSV, and what we want to call the file. I'm going to open it up after, and this just gives a good summary, especially if you're doing this. You're maintaining one up-to-date document set. You want to keep track of these slip sheets that you do with each update, whether it be a bulletin or what have you. And it's going to give you a summary of what you did when you did that slip sheet. So, and it even hyperlinks it for you. So I can see as I'm mousing over these that it's saying that there's a link here. So it's telling me, okay, we took this page and we replaced it with page 3 in our combined set. Same with these ones. We didn't have any revised documents that were unmatched, and we had a number of current document pages that were unmatched. So it gives us a nice summary. And if I ever need to look and say, okay, what was, what's page 3 here? I can click the hyperlink. It's going to jump me to that page. If I wanted to see what that revised page, the original document that I slip sheeted in, I can click that. It's going to open up that original one. And in this case, it's good to look. So this is the revised version, A201 Rev 2 that we slip sheeted in. You can see there's no hyperlinks on this original document, but after we slip sheeted it in, I'm going to close my batch summary here and go to A201. See, it took all those hyperlinks that we created and it added those onto our revised sheet here. So we're not losing any of that hard work or any of the markups that we've done on these pages. Just a quick and easy way to get the latest and greatest into our current set here. Okay, and I want to look also at how we do this if we have the files separated out. So I may have, all my drawings separated. Maybe this is my up-to-date set in here, and I just want to slip sheet my latest drawings into my latest and greatest set here. Maybe I'm actually utilizing those drawings in a set within Bluebeam. But if we want to do that, we get another option here. So let's go ahead. The bulk of the setup is the same. We're going to batch slip sheet. And we're going to add this time, not our open files, but we're going to add all of those individual drawings here. I'll just select all of these, hit open, and then select my revised drawings. These three in here. Select our page region once again. So this time, because I didn't have any of those documents opened up the first document, so I can select a page region on the sets that I'm actually using here. So I'm going to grab that page region, and then we'll go ahead and match those pages. And this time, because I have all these drawings separated, nothing else in here is really any different up top. But this time what I want to do, I don't want to just replace these. I want to actually insert the revised pages before the current pages. So that way when I open up this A201, I'll have my latest, most up-to-date drawing on top here. But I can go to page 2, page 3, depending on how many revisions, and see the previous revisions. And then it gives us this option here to stamp current pages. This wording maybe can be a little confusing right now, but we have to look at how it's set up right here, right? With our current files being the ones that we're getting overwritten. So our current pages we want to stamp with superseded, and then we're putting the revised ones on top. So we'll check that and then see what it looks like here. So let's hit OK. And we could do another summary here, but that's going to look pretty much the same. So I'm not going to do a summary this time. We'll hit OK. And then let's open up 201, for example, which was a revised sheet. So we've got our latest drawing here. We got all the hyperlinks carried over. But now we have 2 pages to this document. And when you go to page 2, it stamps it with superseded. So I know that this drawing is out of date. There's no question if I go to this page that I'm not working off the latest. But now I have the reference to be able to come back and see what that previous revision was. So it's very useful here. I can see, okay, well, this was the revision, right? But maybe I want to go back and see how it used to look. It's very helpful to be able to see the changes on a particular drawing there. So it makes it very easy for document management, especially with changes as you're getting updates and bulletins and new drawings, that you can maintain not only the latest in one location, but also keep track of those previous revisions and be able to reference back to them. All right, let me just check the questions. Doesn't look like we got anything so far. Great. All right, so the last thing I want to look at today is pretty cool tool. I think one of the coolest in Bluebeam. It's the visual search function. So I'm sure everyone has just used the standard search, text search. You can initialize it, just Control F, which you probably use to search on lots of different apps or different programs. So Control F, and we can search just for, maybe we have A300, I think, on this page somewhere. Yeah, search for A300, and it's going to search my page, and I can zoom in and see where A300 comes in. All right, so that's text search, pretty standard. Still very useful to be able to find pieces of text on a document. And with Bluebeam, obviously, we can choose whether we want to search the current page, whether we want to search current document, or we can actually search in folders or having multiple documents open, which is really helpful if you're searching for something across different documents. But the visual search tool, works essentially the same way, but you're actually, rather than putting in text, you're giving it, an image or a snapshot, basically, of what you want to search for. So let's go to, let's see, let's jump to one of these lighting plans. Yeah, let's search for maybe this 2x2 dropper fixture. So if we want to search for this visually, we can choose our visual search. And just like we did when we were selecting page regions or our page labels or matching different sheets, we're going to use get rectangle here. And this is going to be what we're actually searching for. So I'm going to want to zoom in and kind of search just around this fixture here. And it gives me a little preview of what it's going to search for. And probably the most important option you have before you search is the sensitivity. So if I have the sensitivity all the way at the bottom, that's going to be least sensitive. So theoretically return more results. It's going to be less picky in terms of searching for something that looks like this. More sensitive, it's going to be very picky. It might only find something that has the little line at the top in that exact location. So typically, if I'm doing a visual search, I'll set it to least sensitive. And then if I'm getting a lot of erroneous search results, maybe I'll start upping the sensitivity a little bit to kind of weed that down. All right, we got a question in here. How can bookmark be remained updated once sheets are replaced? Okay, so that's a good question. We'll jump back to the search results in a second. But so we just replaced like A201, right? And we had a bookmark for it. So in this case, let's actually audit my bookmarks. Yeah, so they're not going to break if you do the slip sheeting like that. I think what you're referring to, they will break if I were to just go in here and remove this page and insert another. It's going to be lost. Like that bookmark, when I go into bookmark and I audit them, I'll see that one of those pages will come in with an X and it'll say, we can't get to that page anymore because it's been removed. Even if I put in a new A201 there, basically that link is lost. When you slip sheet the way that we did, it's copying all those markups and all that data that's assigned to that previous sheet. So even the bookmarks themselves remain intact. So we don't have to go through and re-update these bookmarks, which is another good feature of slip sheeting and using that batch functionality. Oops, okay. So, yeah, good question though. I would say if you're doing it manually and the bookmarks are getting dropped off, you can either go to the page and set to current view after if it's just a couple of them, or probably, if there's a bunch of them, it might just be quicker just to recreate them all, go and delete all the bookmarks and then just create them from scratch again, because it does do that pretty quickly. Great. All right, so jumping back to our visual search here. Where was I? It's on E202. Okay, and we're gonna go to our search. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep my sensitivity all the way down. And I have a couple of other options here. I do want to search for rotations, for example. This is black and white, so filter by color doesn't really matter. One thing that I may or may not want on is search markups, any markups that I've actually put on. I don't have any on here, so it doesn't really matter, but for this exercise, I probably wouldn't want to be searching for any markups that I had placed, so I'll just toggle that off. And let's just go ahead and search here. And I'm just going to search this current page. I could, again, search the whole document or across multiple documents, but the visual search is a little more intensive, computer intensive, because it's doing a lot of work to try to find those. So if I were to do the whole 35-page document, we'd have to sit here for a minute while it goes through and searches. But just right off the bat, it returned 70 results here. So I could kind of scroll through and just, try to check, make sure it looks like it got all the right ones, didn't get any kind of erroneous results in here. Or maybe what I want to do is use some of these search actions. So at the top here, we've got options. So I'm just going to select all of my search results with this toggle at the top. And then I'm just going to highlight them. I can highlight all my selected options here. And it highlights all of those results on the page. So a very quick way to get these to jump out and be more visible on the page. And it's also a way for me to check, if I was just trying to see, are there 70 on this page? It makes it a lot easier to see, did it miss any of these? If I'm just gonna scroll through this page real quick, I'm not seeing any 2x2s that aren't highlighted here. So it looks like it got all of these. And I'm also not seeing anything that was highlighted that is not a 2x2. Now I can also do a count measurement from my search results here. So I can do one of the built-in ones, check, and that goes and applies an actual count measurement to these. So if I select this check mark, it's giving me that count measurement 70. So I can quickly get a count for how many I placed here or how many returned of this search result. And then I think I had a couple of the old ones here. If I want to get even a little more fancy with it, and I want to, I'm going to just get Control Z, undo my highlights and checks there. Maybe I want to create, a custom count based on what this fixture looks like. Maybe I'm doing a quantity takeoff, and I want to be able to get these to show up visually, be a tool that I can place down to count and maybe assign properties to that count measurement that I can keep track of. So I'm going to use my handy snapshot tool, which is G for shortcut, or where is it? Edit snapshot, this tool here. And I'm just going to grab just around this fixture here and hit Control V to paste it. And I think I've got thin line weights on. There we go. So this is a new, just a snapshot of it. What I can do is I can change the colors if I want. So I'm going to select what I've pasted here, change the colors from black to red, for example, to make that show up a little better. And then I want to just add this to my tool chest, add this as a tool so I can create a count from it. So let's right click and do add to tool chest. I'll add to my tools. And then I'm going to create a count from that tool. And maybe I want to just assign some properties to that. So I'm going to go to my detail view, and I'm going to call this fixture A count, light fixture A count. And I can assign, delete this one. When I click on it here, I can assign properties in my settings. So maybe I want to assign a unit cost, whatever each one of these fixtures is going to cost, let's say $75. All right, so I've set up my tool. And now when I go back to my visual search, so I gotta run my search again because that got deleted. So I'll just search one more time here. And now rather than doing a built-in count where it's just a check mark, I can do a count from this custom tool that I've created. So we get 70 results again, just what I would expect. I'm going to select all these, and I'm going to do apply count, but I'm going to apply my light fixture A count to that. So it applies in red, this tool that I've created, right? This custom markup for all of these. And when I go to my markups list, because I've assigned properties to that markup tool, a unit cost of $75, I can quickly get the total cost just on this page for this light fixture A. for what the cost of those based on how many I have and what the unit cost is. So the visual search tool, very powerful, can really do a lot with it, just using these search actions. We can see too here that this is another way to create hyperlinks. You know, if we didn't have the batch functionality and maybe I wanted to search for different drawings like A201, I could do a text search for those and then just hyperlink them based off the result that I get in here. So the searchability in Bluebeam is very powerful. If you haven't looked into it, definitely try it. And you know, hopefully if you haven't used this before, your kind of wheels are turning with what you can do with this, because it really gives a lot of functionality to what you can do in here. All right, so that was the main topics I wanted to cover today. I want to see if we have any additional questions. Check in our question tab here. So I'm not seeing any. Make sure this is kind of small here. Okay, so question here. So I'm just going to try to expand my window. It makes it very small and hard to read. Okay, when hyperlinking a document into the drawings spec section or product cut sheet, is there a way for Bluebeam to attach that spec section to the document or only like to a path? If it only links to a path, it will not work if we send the drawing. Okay, so good question. So when you're hyperlinking, you can choose whether you want it to be relative or absolute. So if we just make like a hyperlink from scratch here, I'm just going to hyperlink this. So if I'm, you know, opening a separate drawing, like a spec sheet or product cut sheet, right? So I have a path to something, let's just path to this document here. And then this toggle use relative paths. If I, excuse me, sorry. If I have this toggled on, as long as whatever I send to, you know, an outside entity, a different firm, if I keep it all, you know, maybe I'm just sending them this overall folder, as long as I'm linking to stuff relative in this folder, and I'm keeping my hyperlinks with use relative paths on, all of those hyperlinks are still going to work because they're going to be relative to this document. So wherever this document is saved, my combined drawing set, it's going to say, you know, jump in my separated folder and go to this document. So that's gonna, I think that's the question, and that'll let you do that. So you just got to make sure you have relative paths checked on. All right, is there a way to create a table of contents from the bookmarks? Like exporting the bookmarks? I believe you can export them, yeah. So, you know, if you had created your bookmarks here, you can come in here and export all your bookmarks to a location, and you know, you can make that a PDF and then make all of those hyperlinked to the actual drawings, I think is the question. So yes, you definitely can do that. And let's see if there's any other questions here. They really make this questions dialog box tiny. It's hard to scroll through. Don't think I see any other questions. If any, you know, come in later, or if you think of anything else later, you can always reach out to us or myself. I'll post my email here in the chat, so you can always reach out to me as well. Yeah, I don't think I see any other questions in here. So thank you for everyone who joined in today. We'll also have a recording of this webinar, so you can always come back and refer to it later. you'd like to, but thanks for coming in, spending the time today, and have a great rest of your day.